I remember that Friday night clearly. The kind of night when New York feels too heavy, too loud, too tired. I'd stayed late at my office in Midtown, slogging through spreadsheets under the dying hum of fluorescent lights. By the time I finally made it to the 42nd Street subway station, all I wanted was to go home, take off my shoes, and forget the world existed. The platform was packed, as always. People buried in their phones, headphones blasting, everyone pretending not to see each other. A tired voice echoed from the speakers, broken and distorted. "Please stand behind the yellow line." Except the line repeated, glitching into a warped chant. "Stand, stand, behind, behind." It made my stomach drop. It didn't sound like a machine. It sounded like someone whispering directly into my ear. I turned around. A man in a black hoodie stood behind me. Head down, face hidden, completely still in the middle of the shifting crowd. I shrugged it off. New York is a museum of weird people. The train's headlights appeared in the tunnel, blowing hot wind down the platform. The crowd leaned forward slightly. And then, a shove. A hard, deliberate, brutal shove. I didn't even have time to scream. My body flew over the yellow line. The world tilted, the lights stretched like smears of fire, and I hit the tracks with a bone-cracking thud. I looked up and saw the train rushing toward me. I remember the exact second the metal slammed into me. The way my ribs folded. The way my jaw snapped. The sound of my own body being torn apart. My blood sprayed across the platform wall like red mist. My vision shook from the impact, and I saw him, the man in the hoodie, standing still. And in the shattered reflection of the train's glass, I saw his face. It was mine. He was smiling. Then everything went black. I gasped for air. Cold, filthy subway air filled my lungs. I blinked, dazed, trembling. I was back on the platform. Same crowd. Same announcer. Same time on my watch. 9:27 p.m. The train hadn't arrived yet. My legs buckled. I stumbled back from the edge just as the train roared into the station. No one else reacted. No one looked at me. No one seemed to notice that I had just died. I forced myself onto the train, heart punching my ribs. My reflection in the window trembled, like it belonged to someone else. 2 stops later, I reached street level. Night air hit my face, sharp and metallic. People rushed past me, wrapped in their own worlds. I tilted my head up. A flickering neon sign hung from an old diner across the street. Dina's Diner, except half the letters were dead, leaving only D, N, R glowing weakly. I stepped forward and heard metal strain above me. A huge sign, barely attached, swayed violently on the rooftop edge. Its bolts shook loose, pinging against the concrete. Then it fell, straight toward me. I tried to jump aside, but my legs didn't move. As if something was holding me in place. The last thing I saw was the neon glow rushing down at my face. Crack. My skull split. My vision exploded into red. The world dissolved. Darkness. I woke up again. The platform. The yellow line. The same damned 9:27. My breath caught in my throat. The subway lights flickered overhead. The tiled walls pulsed with a strange reddish sheen. And then I heard it. The announcer's voice, no longer mechanical. "Welcome back, Ethan." I woke up screaming. One blink, and I was back on the 42nd Street platform. Alive, unbroken, Not a single bone crushed under a train. My watch read 9:27 p.m. The same damn time. The same crowd. The same flickering lights. The same whisper in the distorted speaker. Please stand behind the yellow line. Only this time, it stuttered, glitching like a haunted recording. Hind, behind the yellow line. My skin crawled. I didn't wait for the train. I boarded the next one and held onto the pole like it was the only thing anchoring me to reality. But even as the subway rattled along the tracks, I couldn't shake the feeling that something cold was breathing just behind my neck. I reached my apartment in Brooklyn around 10:30 p.m. The hallway smelled like mold and old carpet, the kind of scent that clings to the walls of rent-stabilized nightmares. The fluorescent lights flickered above me, pulsing like a heartbeat. I slammed my door shut and locked it twice. My apartment felt wrong, somehow tighter than usual, as if the darkness inside it had been waiting for me. I stumbled into the bathroom and turned on the faucet. Cold water hit my face, but it didn't calm me down. When I raised my head, my reflection stared back pale and hollow, eyes ringed with something darker than exhaustion. And then, it smiled. Not a human smile. A stretched, torn at the edges grin that didn't belong to me. I jerked back. When I looked again, the smile was gone. "You're losing it, Ethan," I muttered. "Get it together." Just then, my stomach cramped violently. I sat on the toilet, hands shaking. That was when I heard it. A gurgling wet noise beneath me. Loud. Hungry. The toilet water began to ripple. I stared, horrified, as the surface darkened, turned almost black, and bulged upward like something was pushing from below. What the hell? Before I could finish, a pale hand shot out of the toilet and latched onto my ankle. Ice cold. Rotten. Powerful. I screamed and tried to kick it off, but its fingers dug into my skin like claws. It yanked. I slipped, bashing my knee against the bathtub, my arms scraping the tiles as I tried to crawl away. The hand pulled harder. Water sloshed violently, splashing up my legs. I forced myself to look. And there, beneath the water, was a bloated face staring up at me. Its eyes were open, milky white, unfocused, yet somehow filled with intent. Its swollen lips parted, releasing a stream of dark, oily liquid. And then it spoke. Not through its mouth. No. The voice came from inside my skull. "Welcome back, Ethan." No, no, no. I clawed at the floor, digging my nails into the grout. But the hand dragged me closer to the opening. My foot slipped, plunging into freezing water. Something wrapped around my calf. Another hand. I screamed until my throat burned. The thing's face shifted, its rotting features melting and reshaping. Into mine. My own waterlogged corpse stared back at me, smiling with broken, blackened teeth. "Let's switch," it whispered. The next yank pulled half my torso into the toilet. Water surged up my chest, choking me, filling my lungs with cold decay. I tried to fight it, to grab the sink, the door, anything. But its grip crushed my leg like wet clay. It pulled me under. My lungs exploded with agony. My eyes burned. And the world dissolved into blind darkness and rushing water. Just before everything faded, I heard it again. The monstrous, echoing whisper. "You can't flush away death." I jolted awake, back on the subway platform, standing, breathing, 9:27 p.m. The same crowd. The same fluorescent lights. I spun around, heart pounding, and saw him. The man in the black hoodie. Standing behind me. Smiling. His lips were wet, dripping with water. I woke up again. Same platform. Same stale underground air. Same damn 9:27 p.m. At this point, dying felt like hitting a reset button. Except the fear never reset with me. Each time I came back, I felt a little less human. I tried everything to break the cycle. Left the station. Took different trains. Ran through different exits. But no matter which direction I ran, I always ended up back at the same entrance. Like Manhattan had folded itself around me. Worse yet, I sometimes saw glimpses of myself. Previous versions of me, walking the same paths I had taken minutes or lifetimes ago. New York was wrong. The whole city was looping like a corrupted video file. The honking cars, the flashing billboards, the people, all repeating. I returned to the subway bathroom, hoping maybe the cracked marble sink and buzzing lights would ground me in something real. It didn't. The air was colder than before, and the mirrors were fogged over like someone had been breathing on them. I wiped one clear and stared into it. My reflection was pale, unwell. My eyes had dark rings around them, and my mouth had a tiny split at the corner, one that hadn't been there before. I touched it. It bled. Great, I muttered. Just what I need. Then the reflection blinked. Before I did, I froze. My reflection slowly lifted its head and grinned. A wide, jagged, soul-rotting grin stretching far too deep. The glass trembled. A long crack split across the mirror with a shrill crack, and thick black fluid seeped from the fracture, dripping like tar. My lungs seized. I stumbled back, and suddenly every wall of the bathroom was plastered with newspaper clippings. Each headline screamed the same horror. Man killed in subway incident. Brooklyn man decapitated by falling sign. Ethan Cole, 30, dies in shocking accident. My name repeated again and again. Photos beneath the headlines showed twisted, mutilated bodies. My bodies, each frozen in a different grotesque death. One photo showed my skull crushed. Blood sprayed across a platform wall. And in the background, there I was, smiling, watching. My stomach lurched. I bolted out of the restroom. The station had changed again. The ceiling dripped with some dark fluid. The lights flickered violently. The faces of the commuters blurred into smeared ovals, like someone had tried to erase their features with wet fingers. They walked past me, whispering, a layered, echoing murmur. He died again. He died again. He died again. Their cold bodies brushed against me, soft and clammy, like touching thawed corpses. I shoved through them, desperate for air. A sound came from above, a faint scratching, like nails dragging across concrete. I looked up. A swollen dark bulge pressed through the ceiling tiles, throbbing like something trapped inside. Then a hand, a grotesque, multi-eyed hand, burst out, slapping the air blindly. A wet tearing sound followed. The ceiling split open like rotten flesh. A creature dropped down. It wasn't human. It wasn't even animal. It was a writhing knot of faces. All of them mine. Eyes rotated across its body, blinked independently, followed me hungrily. It opened a mouth lined with too many teeth, and let out a newborn's cry, mixed with a radio static whisper. Then, come back. I ran. The creature dragged itself after me, leaving a trail of mucus and detached eyeballs. I sprinted up the platform stairs, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The train screeched into the station, doors opening into a pitch-black interior. Every instinct begged me not to get on, but the creature was right behind me. Then, Ethan. A soft female voice cut through the chaos. I turned. She was sitting on a bench as if none of this mattered. A young woman in a gray jacket, white earbuds in her ears. Calm. Still. Out of place. She met my eyes and said, "You came back again." My blood ran cold. You remember me?" She nodded slowly. "I always do, even when everything resets." "Why? How?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed behind me. The creature had stopped moving. Its many eyes were staring directly at me. And for the first time, it was silent. "Don't breathe," the girl whispered. "Don't move. It can't see you when you're still." I froze. The creature inched closer, sniffing the air with mouths that opened along its torso. I couldn't hold it. A shaky breath escaped my throat. The creature lunged. It slammed into me, jaws cracking bone, tearing into my shoulder. Pain exploded up my arm. Warm blood sprayed across the tiles. I screamed, but the sound gurgled in my throat as the thing dragged me toward the tracks. The girl didn't move. Her eyes closed, as if she'd seen this too many times to react. My vision dimmed. The last thing I saw was the creature's countless faces, all versions of me, closing in. Darkness swallowed everything. Then, the platform. Again, 9:27 p.m. But this time, the girl was already looking at me. She removed one earbud. "I remember dying," she whispered. "And I remember you." I used to think fear had a limit, that once you died a few times, your nerves would eventually go numb. Turns out fear doesn't fade. It mutates. It becomes part of you, like a second heartbeat. The moment I opened my eyes again, I knew exactly where I was. Same platform. Same grime-covered tiles. Same sickening 9:27 p.m. But this time she was there. The girl, sitting on the bench across from me, like she had been waiting. She wore the same gray jacket, white earbuds tucked under her dark hair. In the flickering fluorescent light, she looked strangely real, more real than the platform itself. I took a shaky step toward her. "You know what's happening, don't you?" She didn't look surprised at all. Instead, she slowly pulled out one earbud and said quietly, "You died again." Her voice was steady, like she was giving me a weather update. My throat tightened. "How do you know?" "Because I remember," she murmured. "Every time I see you, I remember pieces. Not everything, just fragments, like leftover echoes." "Echoes?" I repeated. "Are you stuck in this loop too?" She shook her head. "No, not the way you are. I'm not a repeater. But something in the reset doesn't wipe me clean. And every time you die, something new bleeds through. I stared at her. For the first time in all these loops, someone else wasn't treating me like wallpaper. Someone else felt the wrongness too. Before I could ask more, her expression shifted sharply. "Don't speak," she whispered. Her eyes were fixed on something above us. I turned. The subway monitors were glitching again. Static. Flickers. Then, a silhouette appeared in one of the screens. A man, standing perfectly still on the platform, his back to the camera. My stomach dropped. It was me. Not a version of me. Not a shadow. Me. The version of myself I had seen in my deaths. Smiling, watching, waiting. As I stared, the figure on the screen slowly turned its head. Right toward the camera. Right toward us. And grinned. Every monitor in the station burst into white sparks. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the entire platform. I couldn't see a thing, but I could hear something breathing. Deep, slow, wet breaths echoing through the tunnel. Not mechanical. Not human. Alive. Mia's hand brushed mine. "Don't move," she whispered in the dark. But the breathing grew louder. Closer. I felt the air shift, as if something enormous had slid across the ceiling above us. Then, a voice. My voice. "Ethan, you shouldn't be here anymore." The girl squeezed my hand. "Run." We bolted down the platform. The darkness twisted around us, shifting like it was alive. I heard something behind us. A scraping, dragging sound, like flesh sliding across concrete. We sprinted toward the tunnel. Lights flickered on for half a second, just enough for me to see the thing chasing us. It wasn't the creature from earlier. This one was worse. A tangle of twisted silhouettes. Doppelgangers of me. Dozens of them. Their bodies melting together. Their mouths moving in sync. Whispering my name over and over. "Ethan, Ethan, Ethan." My legs nearly gave out. We dove into the train just as the doors slammed shut. Inside was pitch black. I could only hear our breathing. Mine panicked, hers trembling. Slowly, dim lights flickered on. The train car was empty. But the windows were covered in handprints. Hundreds of them. Smearing. Scratching. Pressing. Then a face slammed against the glass. My own face? Twisted, split open at the mouth. I stumbled back, nearly falling. "Don't look at it!" Mia grabbed my wrist. Her voice cracked with fear. "If you look too long, it..." The glass shattered inward. A dozen versions of me clawed their way in. Hands reaching. Eyes hollow. One grabbed Mia by the hair and yanked. "Mia!" I lunged, hitting it with everything I had. The face cracked apart like porcelain, vanishing into black smoke. She collapsed against me, shaking. I saw something," she whispered. "I saw you dying, over and over. 30, no, 40 times." I felt my blood freeze. She wasn't supposed to remember. No one was. Before I could respond, the lights inside the train flickered red. A deafening roar echoed through the tunnel. Another train, a real one, was speeding straight toward us. "Hold on," I shouted. But the collision hit us too fast to react. The world exploded. Glass sliced my arms. Steel slammed into my ribs. The train flipped, twisted, screeched, and flames swallowed everything. In the firelight, I saw her last expression, Mia's body being dragged away by the smoke. Her eyes wide, terrified. Behind her, another me stood smiling at the end of the burning tunnel. Then darkness. Then the platform. 9:27 p.m. She was there again, sitting on the bench, alive. And this time, when she looked at me, her eyes were full of terror. "I remember dying," she whispered, "and I remember you were there." I always thought the worst thing in the world was dying. I was wrong. The worst thing is realizing the person trying to kill you is you. When I woke up again, I already knew the drill. Same platform, same lights, same cursed 9:27 p.m. But something was different. Mia was there. Not distant, not numb, but shaking. Her arms wrapped around herself. Her fingernails stained with dark, dried blood. Her face was pale, like she just crawled out of a nightmare she wasn't meant to remember. She looked up at me. "I remember the fire," she whispered. "I remember burning. I remember dying." I swallowed hard. "So do I." She shuddered. "We have to stop it, Ethan. We have to understand what's happening before it happens again." And somehow I agreed, even if every cell in my body wanted to run. We spent what felt like days, or loops, or lifetimes, tracking patterns, marking deaths, taking notes. Each time I died, a symbol appeared somewhere nearby. At first I didn't see the shape, but when Mia plotted the locations on a map, my stomach twisted. All the death spots formed a perfect circle. A ritual seal. A looping sigil centered right under the subway line itself. "This is a ritual," Mia whispered. "Something or someone is using your deaths as anchors." "Why me?" I asked. Her eyes drifted. Toward me, but past me, as if looking at something layered over my skin. "Maybe because you already broke once," she said quietly. "One night. Whatever night meant in a world that kept resetting." We sneaked into the subway's control room. The monitors flickered in the dim glow. Hundreds of screens, each showing a different angle of the station, like a hive of mechanical eyes. Something about that room was wrong. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of melting plastic and something rotting deeper beneath. I scanned each screen carefully. Empty tunnels, repeating crowds, static. Then, camera 7, a silhouette, standing in the middle of the platform, perfectly still, back turned. A chill spread up my spine. "I'm here," I muttered. "So who the hell is that?" I leaned closer. The figure's posture, the slope of its shoulders, the way its head tilted. It was me. I touched the screen, and the thing turned its head toward the camera, with a slow, deliberate twist that made my stomach flip. It grinned. Every monitor in the room exploded into sparks. The lights died. The door slammed shut behind us. Then I heard footsteps. Not Mia's. Not mine. Something walking down the hallway, mimicking the cadence of my own steps. Deliberate. Measured. Wrong. "Hello?" I whispered. Something answered. The figure stepped into the doorway. A perfect copy of me. except its eyes were hollow. Black pits stretching too far back into its skull. "I told you," it said in my voice. "This loop is over." It smiled, slow and wide. "And now it's your turn." My body froze. "What are you?" I croaked. It tilted its head. A gesture I'd seen myself make 1,000 times. But never like this. "I'm you," it said. "And him. And the one before that. Every Ethan that died and didn't accept his purpose." My mouth went dry. "Purpose? You think this is about survival?" It stepped closer, its footsteps echoing like metal on bone. "Only one Ethan can exist per cycle. One must die, and one must take the role." A knife materialized in its hand, the blade shimmering like it was carved from shadow. "Kill me," it whispered. "Or I kill you." Something snapped in me. Fear, rage, despair. I swung the flashlight in my hand and smashed it across its face. The skin cracked like glass. Black smoke pouring from the fractures. Its head snapped to the side, then slowly turned back, smile still carved deep. "You can't run," it hissed. "You never could." I bolted. Up the hallway, down the stairs, across the empty platform. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. Behind me, the thing walked calmly, confidently, like a predator watching a trapped animal exhaust itself. The train doors opened with a hiss. I dove inside. But I wasn't alone. Another version of me was sitting in the corner, hands folded neatly, smiling faintly, as if he'd been expecting me. "Oh God," I whispered. He stood slowly, producing a shadow knife identical to the first. "You can't escape us," he said softly. "You can only replace us." He lunged. I grabbed the broken shard of glass from my pocket, left over from when the monitor shattered, and drove it into his throat. He gasped. Black liquid spilled from the wound. Then he smiled. "Very good," he wheezed. "Now, you take my place." He pulled my hand toward him, helping me push the glass deeper. His body collapsed into a cloud of black smoke, wrapping around my arms, my face, my eyes. I couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. Inside the darkness, thousands of voices whispered, "You're one of us now." I woke again on the platform. 9:27. Mia was there, but she didn't smile this time. She stared at me like looking at a stranger. "Ethan?" she whispered. "What happened to you?" I exhaled. Black mist leaked from my palm, curling into the air like smoke. And I heard my own voice answer. Cold, distant, not entirely mine. "This cycle is over." Her face twisted in horror. She backed away, because she knew. She knew I wasn't just Ethan anymore. I was the thing that hunted him. I woke again. Same platform. Same time. 9:27 p.m. But this time, the air was different. Heavier. Colder. Tainted with something rotten, like a basement full of forgotten bodies. And my hands were leaking faint trails of black smoke. I wasn't the same Ethan anymore. I felt it in the way the fluorescent lights bent around me, in the way the shadows crawled closer as if eager to listen. Mia noticed too. She stood near the bench, gripping the metal railing so hard her knuckles whitened. Her eyes darted toward me, then away, like she was afraid looking too long would make something inside me wake up. "Ethan," she whispered. "We have to end this, now." Her voice trembled not with fear for herself, but fear of me. I swallowed the rising dread and nodded. "What's your plan?" She took a deep breath. "Every cycle follows rules. Your deaths happen at predictable intervals. And that thing, your double, always appears right before the end. If we can predict where he'll show up, we can ambush him." "Kill him, you mean?" Her jaw clenched. "Yes." I wanted to tell her we'd already tried that. I wanted to tell her killing the thing only made me worse. But a part of me, the part that had died 100 times, wanted to kill it. Wanted to kill myself. And that terrified me more than anything. It was close to 2 a.m. when we slipped back into the maintenance tunnels. The tile floors were slick with condensation, the dripping pipes echoing like distant sobs. Mia carried a rusted iron rod she'd torn from a broken gate. I carried nothing. I didn't need to. Whatever was changing inside me brought a new kind of instinct. Like I could feel the thing hunting us. "Stay behind me," Mia said. I almost laughed. A thin, broken laugh. If she knew what was happening to me, she'd be running from me instead. As we reached the control deck, the monitors flickered on by themselves. One by one, they lit the room with a sickly glow. Then camera 14 focused on the empty platform. Except it wasn't empty. A shadow stood in the distance, motionless. Then it moved, turning its head, looking straight at the camera, straight at us. "It's here," Mia whispered. We crept toward the platform together. The entire station felt like it was holding its breath. Every light dimmed, like darkness itself was trying to swallow us whole. And then I saw him, my doppelganger, standing beside the yellow line, arms at his sides, head tilted, like he'd heard a joke only he understood. He turned toward us. His empty eyes glimmered with black fire. Mia didn't hesitate. She lunged forward, swinging the iron rod with all her strength. The impact cracked his skull, but instead of bone, a burst of black vapor exploded outward. He staggered, a fractured smile spreading across his face. I charged him. Anger, panic, and something darker twisted inside me. I slammed him against the pillar, grabbed the rod, and drove it straight through his chest. Darkness bled out of him like ink. He collapsed to the floor, coughing a thick, tar-like substance. But his grin never disappeared. "Good," he wheezed. "You're adapting." "Shut up," I yelled, pressing the rod deeper. His voice gurgled, yet somehow remained calm. Only one of us walks away. Only one becomes the keeper. His head lolled back. The light in his eyes flickered, then died. His body burst into a cloud of black dust, which scattered across the tiles like ashes. For a moment, there was silence. Then Mia dropped the rod and clutched her chest. "Mia?" I stepped forward. She stumbled back. Something's wrong. Ethan, it hurts." She bent over, trembling violently. A thin stream of black smoke seeped from her mouth. "No," I whispered. "No, Mia." Her eyes rolled back, showing only white. Her skin bulged and writhed under the surface, as if something crawled inside her. And when she finally lifted her head, her eyes were completely black. Her voice cracked into two tones, hers and something else. A vacancy must be filled. Mia, fight it, please. She stepped toward me, and shadows rose behind her, twisting into a monstrous silhouette. You killed the previous one, she said. Now the cycle needs a new host. I didn't mean to. Purpose doesn't matter. Her smile was slow, unnatural. You are the next predator, and I am the next prey. My breath caught. Don't say that. But it was too late. Her body snapped upright, the black smoke swirling around her like a cloak. She whispered, "Run, Ethan." Then she vanished, consumed by the darkness, as if she'd been pulled into another dimension. The entire station shook. Lights burst one by one, glass raining from above. Then, a blinding flash, a sound like the world itself caving in. And I fell. Through the floor, through time, through everything. When I opened my eyes again, 9:27 p.m., the platform, silent, empty. Only one person stood there. A young man, a stranger, looking down at his phone, waiting for the train. And behind him, a shadowy figure approached. Slow, silent. It was Mia, or what she had become. She lifted her head. Her eyes, completely black, met mine from across the tracks. She smiled. Her voice slid into my skull like a knife. Your turn, Ethan. Darkness closed in, and the loop continued. I don't know how many times I've woken up on that platform. At some point, numbers stop mattering. Pain stops mattering. Even death stops mattering. But dread never does. This time, when my eyes opened, the air was colder than I'd ever felt. The station was identical. 42nd Street, fluorescent lights, tiles cracked like old teeth. Yet everything felt wrong. 9:27 p.m. Of course. But something new lingered in the air. A rancid stench? Like bodies soaked in formaldehyde and left in a sealed basement. I stood slowly. My feet splashed into something viscous, sticky. I looked down. A smear of blood trailed across the platform. Footprints leading toward the far end of the tracks. Toward the deepest part of the station, where no passenger ever walked. My pulse hammered. The speakers crackled overhead, their voice glitching like dying machinery. Please stand behind the yellow line. Hind the yellow. Yellow. Line, line, line. By the end, it sounded like something was whispering directly into my skull. But I walked anyway. Right past the yellow line. If the loop wouldn't let me go, I'd tear it apart from the inside. The deeper I went, the darker the station became. Lights flickered and died one by one behind me, as if I were being swallowed by the tunnel. Then, a shape appeared ahead. A man in a gray suit, neatly pressed, black tie, hair combed like a corporate portrait, thick glasses gleaming despite the darkness. He smiled in a way no living person would, like he was greeting an old friend he'd already buried. Ethan, he said softly. Congratulations, you finally made it here. My voice cracked. Who are you? He stepped aside, placing one elegant hand on the concrete wall. Except, it wasn't concrete anymore. A door handle jutted out of the solid wall, like it had grown there. I'm an archivist, he said. I keep order. I oversee resets. and I welcome new candidates. He tugged the handle. The door swung open. No hinges. No wood. No frame. Just a yawning void. A darkness that wasn't absence, but presence. Breathing. Slow, rhythmic, like a massive creature asleep on the other side of reality. The archivist straightened his tie. Come, Ethan. You've earned the truth. I should have run. But the platform behind me was gone, swallowed by the black. I stepped inside. Instant cold pierced my bones. The void wasn't empty. It was filled with mirrors. Dozens. Hundreds. Towering around me like monoliths. Each mirror reflected a different version of me. Every death I'd suffered. My skull crushed under the train. My torso split open by falling metal. My flesh torn by the creature of eyes. My body burned inside the derailed subway car. My throat slit by my own twin. Each reflection smiled. A fractured chorus filled my head. Welcome back, Ethan. I staggered backward, but there was no escape. The mirrors closed around me, forming a narrow corridor. At the end of it, a bright rectangle glowed. A window. I stepped closer. On the other side of the transparent wall was the familiar platform. Crowded, normal, alive. The real world. A young man stood by the yellow line, checking his phone. Oblivious. His posture. His hair. His clothes. I recognized him instantly. Me. Or rather, the next me. He glanced up suddenly, as if sensing a presence. His eyes looked directly into mine through the glass. His lips parted. Ethan? I froze. The archivist's footsteps approached behind me. Slow. Patient. You see? He murmured. Every cycle requires a new subject. A new beginning. I shook my head violently. No, I don't want this. I don't want any of this. He placed a hand, cold as marble, against my back. It was never your choice. My chest tightened. A sharp, glass-like pain spread across my ribs. I looked down. Thin fractures crawled over my skin, as if I were a mirror cracking from the inside. Black smoke seeped from every break. I screamed, but no sound left my throat. The archivist leaned close, whispering, Ethan Cole, you are hereby appointed as the new loop keeper. My body split open like shattered porcelain. I fell, not down, but outward, into the void, into my new purpose. Thousands of voices whispered in unison. Open the door. Welcome the next one. Ensure the loop continues. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing on the 42nd Street platform, wearing a suit, a tie, glasses, a stranger's uniform, for a job older than the station itself. Time was still. I wasn't Ethan anymore. I was something else. Someone else. A man stood near the yellow line, scrolling on his phone, unaware of the fate tightening around his neck. I stepped behind him. The air distorted. The lights flickered. The ground trembled. The loop awaited its offering. I reached out, hand steady, heart silent, and pushed him. Hard. His scream was brief. Metal shrieked. Blood sprayed across the rails like red mist. Silence followed. Perfect. Sacred. The PA system crackled to life. Please stand behind the yellow line." I smiled. My new shift had begun.